We're the lucky ones. Here in northern New Mexico, we live in some of the most beautiful country in the nation. Many of us live as close to the wild as we can, nestling our houses up in the trees and angling our windows and decks out to the great views. Up here, our forested mountains provide a winter and a summer paradise. All of this brings us a bucket load of tourists eager to share our lives with us. There is one visitor, however, that we don't want to see. One that ruins the air, kills the wildlife, and can destroy our community water systems. This visitor can come because of lightning from the sky, or a match from a car, or from the heat of an off-road vehicle. We're talking about wildfire, the visitor that destroys our mountain and takes our homes. In many ways, it's our own fault and our job to fix. Our forests have become overgrown because we suppressed fire for decades. What nature would have handled through small fires, corrections really, to make the forest healthy, we prevented. Now, many of our forests are overgrown and choked. We call these doghair thickets, full of dead and downed trees with fuel piled up in tangles. Much of the forest isn't healthy. Even trees that look okay are starved for water in the competition because the woods are too thick. And it's bad for the wildlife. Many of them live on the grass and forbs that are now choked out in so many places. All of this fuel is waiting for a fire, and when one comes, what once would have been a small blaze can turn into a nightmare raging through the treetops and scattering sparks a mile downwind. The consequences have gotten so much worse. You have to be smart to live up here. There are easy things that you can do to prepare that will help even in the most catastrophic fire. Let's start with the defensible space around your home. You don't want anything burnable right up against your house. This is just common sense. The goal is to prevent the structure from igniting because of sparks or heat. Make sure there's at least a 10-foot belt around the house, and this includes decks and porches and any tree you are saving as part of the house footprint. Trim trees so they're not up under the eaves and keep them cut back a good distance from the chimney. Install hardware screen at the deck edge so sparks can't blow under. Don't stack firewood on the deck during fire season. Landscape with gravel and with plants and edging that don't burn easily. Pretend you're a wind-driven spark and ask yourself, where could I start the fire that takes this house? Then there is the forest close by the house. If you can remove the dead standing trees and the dead material on the ground, you can keep the fire further back from the home. If you can keep ladder fuels away from the trees, then you can keep a fire from accelerating up into the treetops and speeding towards your house. If you can thin out the canopy, then a healthy forest floor can return. When you restore a woods to its natural state, it's more beautiful, it's healthier, and it's sustainable. We want a more natural tree spacing. We want snags and rotting logs for wildlife habitat, and we want sunlight. We can imagine when the fire comes, and science tells us that it will come. It will be a ferociously hot burn, endangering people, structures, animals, and the watershed. We want a chance for the fire to drop out of the treetops onto the ground, and we want to limit the burn damage. Smart people living on the edge of the forest are ready to leave and ready to return. Ready means preparing your family. We know how to use the basic emergency plans we can find online and how to personalize them for us. We know where we will meet if we get separated. We know what we should take with us, our prescriptions, our pets, water, a radio, our laptops, a day's worth of food and water. Set means being packed and following the news closely. We have preparation checklists for the interior and the exterior of the house. We have the car loaded. We are attuned to the progress on the fire and the advice from authorities. We have called ahead to our relatives to let them know they may soon see us. We have maximized our chances to save the house and to get away safely. Go means we leave, early and not in a panic. Where we live, many of our neighborhoods are far up narrow, forest-lined roads. We do not want to be in the way of the fire teams as they come up the mountain to save it and our houses. We want them to have clear roads. What is more important, we don't want to be trapped on those roads when the fire comes across. Making a difference is not that hard. After the fire, we can live in an ashtray, or we can have a landscape that comes back quickly and bountifully. We can lose our houses, or we can have something to return to. You can choose to save the mountain and save your home. We get to live in one of the most fantastic places in the world. It's worth fighting for. It's worth committing to. It's worth our stewardship.